Hello. Let me do a little final check-in with the Glss Htl so that the next time I join you about the Glss Htl, it'll be a review. Um, so yeah, we had our final chapter, 16, Vincent in the Water, which is Vincent as a ghost. Um, I think is all you can say. I mean, throughout this novel, we've had various characters who've seen what are ghostly apparitions, which we've been variously able to kind of interpret as hallucinations or guilty hallucinations, I guess. Or, you can say, like, well, they're ghosts, but they're also maybe just figments of this person's mind for whatever reason. And yeah, yeah, but in this one, it is Vincent as a ghost. Um, it begins as it ends as it began, which was with the ending, which is Vincent going over the side. Um, it's somewhat semi disappointing that within the ghost Vincent's explanations for what happened, we have her saying she's up on the deck and yes, she's filming. She's had an argument with Jeffrey, the Irishman. Um, I'm not quite sure about the narrator's Irish accent, but we'll give it to him. She's had an argument with him. Argument that he's concerned that she's going out on deck when they've been told not to, that it's super dangerous, that she might go overboard, which she does. And she's, it's interesting. She just says, oh, it's inadvisable. Not like it's fucking suicidal is what it is. And, does she even notice that it's actually so risk-worthy? Does that make it not suicidal if the person who is doing it doesn't realize exactly how dangerous what they're doing is? Though you got to think that she knows on some level that it is indeed very, very dangerous. And she goes up and she's filming, and she sees a woman, an apparition of a woman, and it's Olivia Collins, which is the artist who she'd only met fairly briefly, and she was like younger apparently than when she had seen her last, which was but she's the woman who knew Jonathan's brother Lucas, and told him that his painting wasn't very good, but also just sort of felt some kind of, I don't know if it's guilt there or if it's just sort of like, connection there of this guy that she knew who had OD'd. But yeah, she sees her, and is distracted and goes overboard. So that kind of solves that mystery, I guess. It becomes, oh, it's an accident, though she's put herself in a horribly dangerous situation and she's seen an apparition, which may or may not be a ghost. I'm not quite sure where Olivia was the last time we saw her, whether she was still alive or not. But she goes over, and then we go into kind of a liminal state, an in-between state. There is a thing of like the cold was annihilating, and it's just like, well, yeah, that's it, you're dead. Annihilation. But then, it's various, she visits memories of Jonathan, of Jeffrey going off the ship, after revisiting the memory of what had happened to her, what argument they'd had, of him leaving the ship and him being really bereft, and his friend saying, they're going to think you're guilty if you run. Yeah, but I can't stand this, and I can't stand that, they'll believe that I'm guilty, so I'm just going to get off. Which he does, and they're not going to pursue him because it was in international waters. And turns out he didn't do it anyways. And the companies very thoughtfully covered all this up anyways for their own reasons. So she, and she sees Jonathan in this hotel, and she sees various people. She visits Paul after one of his his therapy sessions, which get kind of recalled earlier. Like, this is when we get to Paul's story at the beginning, he's telling his therapist about this years later, and she can tell that he's been crying, and he tells her that he's sorry. He's just sorry. It's like, and she's like, well, can't help it. We were both corrupted. It wasn't our faults, or I don't know if it was our fault, but we didn't have a chance. We were both corrupted, which she doesn't get a chance to ask her about, and she's gone. And then finally, it's back to that Glss Htl, and sitting on the beach, 34-year-old, still in the red cardigan she was wearing when she disappeared, is her mother. And it was an accident. She wouldn't have left me. And she opens her mouth to greet her, and that's the end of the novel. So it's a very ghostly novel in its thing. It's like, is this a ghost story? Very much, I think of Casey Affleck's, is it Casey Affleck movie? The Ghost Story? It's like, it's got that kind of a very much kind of that feel to it, of sadness, hurt, corruption, corruption on a giant scale. Also, just the idea of, ceaselessly beating against the waves. It's like, no, you drop in the ocean, and the coldness is annihilating. There is no struggle. It's definitely, human beings is a lot less of the American dream, where your self-determination, as much as it is you are swept by the events, and you are crushed by them, and we're flotsam and jetsam on that, and we get sucked down below in a lot of ways. Yeah, so I'll have to think about that. Yeah, it's definitely a ghost story, though. And how do I express that in a review without spoiling things, as has been the talk lately? Yeah, I guess I use ethereal words in there to hint, to get that feeling, mist, half being able to see stuff coming out of the mist, coming out of the nothingness, and going away into the nothingness again. That's my thoughts, at least. All right, more videos later.